Thank you all so much for coming out today. I'm Teresa Haley, president of Haley and Associates in Visions 1908. We are here again because of the tragedy of Miss Sonya Massey. I don't know if you slept last night after seeing the video. It was very difficult for me, and it was my third time. Each time I watch it, I think about black women all over America being hunted. We have something to be afraid of. Those of us who have sons and daughters, we used to be concerned about our sons, but now we're concerned about the black woman as well. I am so grateful to be here today with Attorney Crump, but especially the Massey family. This day means so much to us that the mother, the son, the daughter, the father thought it was important for all of us to be here together. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Ben Crump. Attorney Ben?
Thank you. Thank you again, Teresa, for allowing us to be in the facility to comfort the family and to try to continue to make sure we get justice for Sonya Massey. I'm here with Attorney Natalie Jackson, Attorney Paul Greinke, Attorney Jennifer Hightower, and as Teresa said, Miss Donna, her mother, Mr. James, her father, her children, Summer and Malachi, and a host of cousins and uncles and aunts. The updates are these. Number one, we've been informed that DOJ is opening an investigation, the Department of Justice, which is welcomed because there have been some concerns and revelations by the family that we think needs to be investigated and addressed completely. Number two, the family had a meeting with Governor Pritzker and Lieutenant Governor, and it was an hour-long meeting, and they were very personal with Ms. Donna and Malachi and Mr. James and Summer. They expressed, especially the Lieutenant Governor, that she's the mother of 4 black daughters. So it is very personal. The governor gave his commitment that the state will use all their resources to make sure that equal justice is paramount, that they will be partners in justice, because they understood that oftentimes Sonya Masseys of the world don't get due process of the law, and that they were committed to saying this is going to be a fair and transparent investigation and process at every level. And I think Ms. Donna was very open with the governor, saying that the trouble is a lot of times in the black community. We see that when the police kill us, they put on administrative leave. She called it a vacation, and then nothing really happens. And she wanted to ensure that that ain't gonna happen here. Mr. James Wilburn, her father, was a little more forceful. He talked about, he don't understand why he was ever hired in the first place. The fact that he had 2 DUIs. Mr. James says he believed that it was 6 times in 4 years. He worked for 6 different law enforcement agencies in 4 years. Believes he was fired from 2 of those agencies. And so Mr. James wanted to know, why was he even hired by the Sheriff's Department? He had a lot of issues with the Sheriff's Department. He said that the Sheriff's Department should have known about his past if they did any kind of investigation. And he said that Senator Turner is putting forth a bill to say that you shouldn't be allowed, if you are accused of some kind of unethical or violation of policy within one law enforcement department, be able to resign without having any findings and then go to the next law enforcement agency. He said that that is a problem because you have these bad law enforcement officers doing bad things to people, having allegations of excessive force, and then they just go to the next agency and then hurt somebody else. And he said that he wanted a commitment from the governor that they would try to have responsive legislation to try to prevent something like this from happening again, and that if that legislation came across your desk, that you would sign such legislation as a Sonya Massey bill. And so that's, he didn't bite his tongue, nor did Miss Donna bite their tongue, but the governor was very receptive. It got emotional in there at times with people having tears and having to break down when talking about Sonya, when talking about the video and how senseless it was. The governor, the lieutenant governor, everybody said they looked at the video and they believe it was senseless as well. And then the issue we're here for today, they expressed to the governor, starting with Mr. Wilburn, this whole thing about how they seem to not have been told the truth at the very beginning. And the family kept drawing our attention to the fact that they were saying it was self-inflicted initially, or it was some intruder who did it, but they never said it was law enforcement who did it. And so Attorney Jackson got from Mr. Wilburn and the family the audio, and we will share it with you, press@bencrump.com, from the police communications, and they are asking a question. Dispatch say, just confirm, self-inflicted, question mark. And this was at 1:23 a.m. Central Standard Time, 5th hour, 05 seconds on the dispatch audio link that has been shared with you all. And then county's update at 1:24 a.m. There's some intelligible conversations going on. You hear somebody say, I didn't. And then you hear again at 1:24 a.m. at the 5th hour, 20-second mark on the dispatch audio link that we released. It says self-inflicted. And then they say, okay, thank you. Now, we needed to be investigated. We talked to John Millheiser, who, the state's attorney, who has been very transparent and has been very zealous in his prosecution of the matter. However, Jimmy Crawford, the father of Sonya's youngest child, and her companion, said that when he got to the house, and he's going to tell you what they told him, they never said it was a deputy-involved shooting. He said, and he'll tell you directly, but he said that they said, well, we know she was having problems with her neighbor, as to suggest that the neighbor might have done it, because they all were asking, what happened when they got to the house? What happened? Shadea Massey, her cousin, who is very close like a sister, was like, what happened? And they were rude, talking about it's under investigation. It's under investigation. They want to know what was the history between her and her neighbor. Then her son, it was even troubling because he was the next of kin, and you'll hear what the hospital was saying to him. And then you hear from Mr. Crawford also what they said in regards to it being self-inflicted, which is just disturbing that everybody knows this wasn't self-inflicted at all. So with that, I think the first person we'll have you hear from is Mr. Jimmy Crawford. Then you'll hear from her son Malachi, her mother Donna, and then finally Mr. Wilburn, and we'll try to take your questions. Also, Vice President Kamala Harris released a statement regarding this matter as she is set to talk with the Massey family. The statement reads, Sonya Massey deserved to be safe. After she called the police for help, she was tragically killed in her own home at the hands of a responding officer sworn to protect and serve. Doug and I send strength and prayers to Sonya's family and friends, and we join them in grieving her senseless death. Our thoughts are also with the communities across our nation whose calls for help are often met with suspicion, distrust, and even violence. The disturbing footage released yesterday confirms what we know from the lived experiences of so many. We have much work to do to ensure that our justice system fully lives up to its name. I join President Biden in commending the swift action of the state's attorney's office and in calling on Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, a bill that I co-authored in the Senate. In this moment, in honor of Sonya's memory and the memory of so many more whose names we may never know, we must come together to achieve meaningful reforms that advance the safety of all communities. Vice President Kamala Harris. And so at this time, we're going to have Mr. Jimmy Crawford come in, who was one of the first ones on the scene from the family. With Shadare, have both of them come to address what they was told, and then at the very end we'll have questions after you hear from all the family members. Jimmy, why don't you go first?
The first thing I want to say is all lives matter. Black lives matter. When I got to the scene, the officer notified me that it was under investigation, and we knew that she had problems with her neighbor. Not once was I told that the officer did it. They tried to make me believe that it was a neighbor or somebody that did it. And then the message got to the hospital that it was a self-inflicted injury. We don't understand how that message got passed out, especially from a sheriff department that's supposed to be professional, legitimate. How do you get that confused? If you that confused, you don't need that job, because that is one thing you cannot get confused. Self-inflicted, and you doing it to somebody is two different statements. And that's they made me believe that somebody else did it to her, and they made the hospital believe that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Can you tell just simply, when you talk about the hospital, where did you hear that from?
I'm not gonna say her name, but my friend works at the hospital. When she realized that was my BM, she called me because she was concerned about no family showing up. It was too much time to pass without the family being notified. And she heard the police telling the nurses she killed herself. How do you get confused? How do you get confused with you saying I shot her or she shot herself? To me, that's a cover up from the get-go. It wasn't until the doctor came back and made the statement, this is not self-inflicted, this is a homicide. Then this true statement came out that it was an officer-involved shooting.
Okay.
Hello. So I was the first family member on the scene. I'm her cousin Shadia. And when we arrived on scene, we were trying to figure out what happened. We asked the officer what was going on. Did they recover camera footage? Because my cousin had cameras at her house. and we were looked at like they didn't know what was going on. They laughed at us. I was confused. I didn't know. I went there from answers because I thought that someone came into the home to kill her. They didn't inform us or our family at all.
And now we will have Malachi and Miss Donna. Okay, she can't. Okay, but Malachi, who was her oldest child, her son, who was the next of kin.
Well, they told me, well, I got a call from the hospital, actually. I never got a call from the police or whatever. But they told me that my mom, she had got shot in the eye, and it came out her neck. And they didn't tell me who. They were just saying somebody. They never would tell me who. They just kept on saying someone shot her. They would never tell me who shot my mom, though. So, and I think I was the first person to find it out, too. I had to go tell my grandma myself. That's all I can say.
And you kept asking who.
Yeah, they wouldn't tell me at all. They wouldn't.
Thank you, Malachi. We know how hard this is on you and Summer. Mr. Wilburn, do you want to say anything before we take questions?
I want to say again, I'm calling for the sheriff's resignation because I think it's a culture to treat this family this bad, to call these lies. If it were not for that camera footage, we as a people, they would have lied and they'd have lied their way right out of this. So he needs to resign. So no matter who of his emissaries try to come and talk to me, I'm not going to talk to anybody unless my attorney's with me. Because you will never twist anything I said. I'm very clear and I'm very eloquent. He needs to resign.
Thank you, Mr. Wilburn. Obviously, you can hear the passion in his voice. A family who lost their daughter and their mother, their loved one. So, to be clear, we want this matter to be cleared up, be investigated, so the family can have answers to how certain things unfolded. If somebody, well, you listen to it for yourself. If somebody did try to suggest it was self-inflicted, then we need to know who. And there needs to be accountability. This was important to the family to have these matters investigated. So we look to the authorities to do a thorough investigation on each and every aspect of what led to the killing, and the aftermath of the killing. We think justice requires such. With that, we will continue to say her name, Sonya Massey. We will continue to say justice for Sonya Massey. We will continue to fight for justice for Sonya Massey. We don't want it to be swept under the rug. We don't want another Laquan McDonald. We were very clear with the governor on that. Charges, we can't be satisfied with just charges in the black community. We've seen it too many times. If we forget about it, a year from now, even if the jury came back and found guilty, if we're not vigilant, you'll get the Laquan McDonald treatment, where they'll give them a slap on the wrist and give 3 years for execution. This video tells the story. There is no justifying this video whatsoever. It's one of the worst police shooting videos ever. I mean, look at the video, listen to the words. There was one part in the video, when you hear the audio, where he suggests that she staged this. I mean, you talking about cover up. He said, I believe she staged this. You go back and listen to the video for yourselves. Don't take our word for it. Sonya Massey did not deserve this. We'll take a few of your questions if you have any. Yeah.
What was the DOJ investigation for going forward? This has been a part of the investigations into Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and several other cases like this. Is there a scope given for this investigation right now? Is this specifically about civil rights, potential civil rights violations? Is this about maybe the recruiting practices at the county? Have you been given anything?
We don't know. Just that they opened an investigation. Yes, sir.
Mr. Crump, thank you for the opportunity. In your words, why is DUI a disqualifier for police work?
Well, you breaking the law. How you gonna uphold the law if you breaking the law? It does beg a lot of questions about why 6 law enforcement agencies in 4 years? And is it true what Mr. Wilburn heard? He was fired from 2 of them. You know, we need to find out what the sheriff's department knew when they hired him. Because if you hire substandard police officers without being thorough and prudent, you get tragedies like this.
Does Mr. Wilburn know which agencies fired him?
No.
And can you tell me where and when the meeting was with the governor?
At what church was it? Union Baptist Church this morning at 9:30.
Could I ask a question of Malachi?
Well, if he can answer. What's your question?
Just for people who don't know your mother personally,
Okay. Yeah. Talk about your mother.
what would you like people to know about your mom?
She was loving, caring. She knew how to cook. Love her cooking.
Y'all ate it up every day.
The best cooking ever, ain't gonna lie. Yeah, she was just a ball of energy. She could talk to anybody. Like, we go anywhere, she want to talk to them, she go talk to them. She just, I don't know, she was just a lovable person. She knew how to talk to anybody. Like, I don't know. And she always helped people, too. That's the thing about her. She helps everyone. Always. That's all I can say.
How are you doing now?
I don't know, honestly. I'm okay, though, for the most part. But this is just, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't have no words for this for real right now. This is crazy to me.
And you watched the video too?
No, I didn't watch it. But I seen, like, the start of the video, but I didn't finish it. I can't. I don't want to watch it.
Yes, sir.
I can understand how the differing messages that the family got from all different types of people can be very upsetting, but is it possible that this could just represent the confusion that surrounds a lot of crimes right after they happen or incidents?
It's possible, but we can't take it lightly with the history of cover-ups, of police killings of black people in America. And so that's why we're just asking for it to be investigated. The family feels strongly about, everything right now. I mean, this was their mother.
Does the family believe this is like a coordinated effort
Well,
to spread disinformation?
Well, the family believes that they weren't told it was a law enforcement killing at the beginning. So if it was your daughter who got killed, what would you be thinking? Would you be thinking like Mr. Wilborn and Miss Donna? Would you be thinking like Malachi and them? Like, why didn't they tell us at the beginning that the police shot my mama? This is their mama. And let's remember that. I mean, you get one mama.
Mr. Crump?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Crawford, just to clarify a question from your statement earlier. When you arrived at the scene, you said you spoke with the deputy. That was not Deputy Grace.
No.
Okay. And just to follow up on that as well, there's been attempts to get more of the body camera footage from all the officers that responded to that scene as well. Illinois State Police has withheld that for right now because of the ongoing investigation. Do you believe that's because of all of that communication after the fact that's not involving the 2 deputies that were at the house? And is there questions, and could that shed even more light on how this all transpired?
And as Attorney Jackson said, we don't know, but we've made the request of all body cam video, of all 911 tape, of all police communication that evening. So they released the 2 body camera videos, and we don't have anything further, but we've asked for it. We believe that State's Attorney John Millhiser is going to be transparent with the family. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Crump, thank you so much for this opportunity. I've kind of got 2 questions here, but my first one, you talk about whole justice. Do you intend to file a civil lawsuit in Sangamon County? And if so, when do you plan to do that?
We plan to explore every possible legal remedy to get full justice for Sonya Massey. And let me be clear on that point. We believe that black people in America deserve full justice just like white people in America. The Constitution applies to all Americans equally. Criminal culpability and civil accountability. And that's what we fully expect. Wouldn't you want that if that was your mother?
Yeah.
You want full justice, right? Nothing less. That's all this family is asking for.
And then just to follow up on that, you mentioned the DOJ. Do you believe the FBI might be involved in this case as well?
We don't know. They said they opened up an investigation. They did it on Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and others. So we hope that they will use whatever resources possible to help get justice.
And when exactly did the family find out that it was a deputy who was involved in the shooting?
That
No.
they found out about 24 hours later.
Okay.
And how did they find out?
Was it on the news?
Well, my brother read it on the internet.
Yeah, on the news. They found out from the news. Nobody from law enforcement ever told them.
So Mr. Crawford had said that this might have been a cover-up, this was a cover-up. How many of the other family members think this was a cover-up?
But they all have strong feelings right now, Roxanne. You talking to a family who just saw their daughter shot in the face by law enforcement. They don't trust any law enforcement right now. Would you?
We're gonna get to the facts.
Yeah, we're trying to get to the facts of what happened. That's why they're asking for a thorough investigation. And that's what we think. I know at the first press conference, that's what would it take to heal the community. You remember, Mr. James? It is trying to put yourself in their shoes and their neighbors' shoes. I know it's hard for some people to even fathom it, but it's a reality for most people of color, especially black people in America. We think about this every day, but by the grace of God, it could be your mama next, or your daughter, or your son. And so, yeah, they distrustful. Yeah, they believed it was a cover-up when they were not told from the very beginning. And so that's what people who are dealing with a lot of emotions feel. They don't know what to believe. I thought Malachi gave the most honest answer. I don't know I have no words. You have no words after something like this. I mean, that video is senseless. It's senseless. You see a law enforcement officer who is trying to claim he was in fear of his life walk around the counter and to get closer to her. Look like from the objective observation that he was trying to get a better shot. Why do you walk around the counter? Yes, last 2 questions. Yes.
I know earlier you said you didn't know exactly what the scope of the DOJ investigation was, but generally, does that mean DOJ boots on the ground here, working with the different agencies? Can you give us?
I've seen it. Obviously, I've done a lot of cases all across America, so I've seen it done a variety of ways. Sometimes they just say they're going to overlook what the local law enforcement does, like they were doing with Breonna Taylor, and then they sometimes do like George Floyd, where they actually put boots on the ground, like they did with Ahmaud Arbery, Tyree Nichols. So, and Ronald Green, they used the local officials. So we don't know what the scope is. We just know that they've opened a file. They've opened an investigation file on Sonya Massey. And obviously, with the family's guidance, if the family wants them to go deeper, we're going to advocate for them to go deeper. What we don't want to happen, and I keep reiterating this, what we don't want to happen is a Laquan McDonald situation. And nobody can tell us, oh, it's not going to happen like that, because I'm sure that's what they said to Laquan McDonald's family.
Yes.
You know, is that it? Okay. Thank you all very much. We'll continue to update you all.
Thanks for watching. Stick around by subscribing today and don't miss a single video.